Yeah, first house, Saturn in Scorpio. So dealing with the transformation, the resentment of my
Yeah.
father. You know, there is a lot of resentment there. And I don't think that he understands that because he's not in my shoes. He isn't the daughter that was abandoned by the father.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? So he doesn't have the same resentments I do.
We all
Huh?
quiz ourselves on our Saturns and our fathers. Mine is opposing my sun. It's Saturn and
Huh?
Virgo opposing my sun, squaring my Neptune. When
So
I
you do deal with the judgmental father.
but he was very judgmental
Mm.
about a lot of different things. But like there was constant judgment. There was judgment about how my household was run that he wasn't even in. How are you criticizing my stepfather? Your stepfather's a yes man. How the fuck would you know that? You weren't there. And why would
Right.
you even say something like
Hilarious.
it was constant, yeah.
I am and I am not looking forward to Saturn in Pisces. I'm glad that it's getting out of Aquarius though, because Aquarius is just that's a lot of energy. Where I think Pisces can be a little bit more subtle. Like it may be affecting people, but maybe not. You don't know.
They gonna hide
You
it.
know, and they consider Saturn in the 12th house in Pisces' natural place, Saturn's joy, meaning that it operates well there. But if you think about how well it operates in terms of using analogies as to what it represents, Saturn being a long time and Pisces in the 12th house being prison, you know, spending a long time in solitude,
You just read
absolutely
me.
Saturn.
You just read me. I have natal Saturn in the 12th. Jesus Christ, did you read me? Oh, this is damn.
Right.
It's
It
locked
feels
up
like being
with.
stuck in prison or stuck in that fucking fog for a long time. So it just works really well there for that. So that's what's going to happen collectively with Saturn going into Pisces, which is why I've been trying to implore people to really double check to make sure that those connections that they broke off, that you said that were useless, that you cut off because Saturn's in Aquarius, were really meant to be cut off. And that certain relationships were really meant not to be repaired or built upon. Because Saturn in Pisces is you're alone. You're going to be spending a
Yes.
long time in
You're gonna be
solitude.
like Squidward in the Void, or
Right.
SpongeBob in the Void, pretty much.
And at the beginning, that may be people's wish come true. Finally, I'm being left alone. I'm in my own solitude. But when you spend a long time like that, and you weren't necessarily that type of person where, you know, you did have connections with people and you've lost it and Saturn goes into Pisces, you're going to have to deal with who do you reach out for to now? Now you're alone. Now when you're ready, like, okay, well, I have my peace and quiet. I'm ready to, where is everybody? Well, you cut them all off. Remember? Saturn in Aquarius? You said that politics were worth saying fuck your family and friends for. Don't you remember? You were the one that said that, you know, you said something wrong to me and it was not worth discussing it with you. And so now fuck you. You said that that was worth it. So now that you've gotten some time for peace and quiet and you've actually come into yourself to realize that maybe you were just being a little erratic at the time, you're ready to come meet these people again and they're nowhere to be found.
That's why you got to audit your circle appropriately during this time frame. You have to,
Right.
and then your values are in flux and being tested because Uranus is in Taurus. So, like, you really have to figure out what's worth it and what's not. Can't just be willy nilly cutting people off, but then again, can't just be letting people hold on that should have
Right.
gone.
Exactly. And you'll be dealing with that too. Imagine being stuck with Saturn in Pisces with the people you should have cut off.
Mm.
Yeah, I feel attacked by this conversation.
I'm so
Because, like,
sorry.
I feel nothing when you say, like, you're gonna be alone. I don't give a fuck. Like, and that's probably my chart ruler talking at this point.
It's the same for me. So I understand it. Like my father has been reaching out to me, which is this Saturn thing, and I kind of made it like my life is okay without him. I mean, it has been for a long time. And now that he wants to reconnect and he's trying, and I can see he's calling and I'm not answering. He's sending me old memories of me when I was a kid and the family pictures and stuff, and I'm not answering. And I'm just, because I'm battling with this value system where I'm like, why didn't you cherish that shit when the picture was taken? Why cherish it now looking back in hindsight?
Because I don't give a fucky anymore. Like, I had to make myself stop giving a fuck about it. Like,
exactly. But I'm also doing what you said, Janae. I'm valuing, is it worth it that I completely end this relationship with my father? But I'm looking at it like, I love my family. I have my mother. I repaired that relationship, which I thought was valuable. I found value in having my mother a part of my life. So that repair felt worth it to me.
Right.
Her grandkids love her. She is an amazing help. We both grew as people through our trials and trauma. And because she's been a part of my life, my entire life, there was something to repair, something to work on and discuss. Whereas my father, it was, hey!
Hi.
I'm like, what's happening? Why are you?
I just wanted her to say hi. She just came home from work. But
but with my father, it was like.
She said, "What y'all talking about? Saturn."
Saturn, right? Saturn.
And I'm still knee deep in my return.
Yeah. The phone calls every holiday, but they're not really present in raising. They're not really, and then having the audacity to be judgmental about how I'm living my life, but I'm all like, you weren't a part of its rearing to judge.
Marie,
that gives me a bad taste.
This rings familiar for me too. My father was largely absent. For 8 years. He just disappeared when I was 8.
Yeah.
Got dropped off, or were going to get dropped off on a weekend visit, and the house was empty. And I didn't know what to say. And then I have this sort of mother who, she never said anything about it. She never talked bad about him. She never brought him up. He was just gone for 8 years. And then when I'm 16, I come home and there's a card from him. And I was like, what do you want? And then contention from there. So the fact that you said that and that resonated, my father had a lot to say about how I was living. He tried to capitalize off of, oh, you rap? Oh, I know people who do this and do that. But then there were problems with other things. I understand that struggle. I'm sorry that's what you're going through, but you'll be the better for it when you push through it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what do I do? Do I have this phone call again for the nth time of this is where I'm at? Where it may be simple for you to get over, and we should just, the whole I'm not going to be here forever and stuff. And I'm all like, see, that just goes to show even more how much you don't know me, because there are people I don't give a fuck about, and they could leave this planet, and I'm still going to be sipping my tea and eating dinner and taking care of my kids and moving forward. So using that as a guilt trip for me doesn't work. You can't say I'm not going to be here forever, because I'm going to be like, bitch, neither am I. Not sitting there calling my daddy a bitch. I'm saying like,
no, I get
it. Neither am I. I'm not going to be here forever. But it's about the connections I'm making with the people I'm with while I'm here. So you saying that you're not going to be here forever, I'm already prepared for that. I already know that's going to happen.
And shouldn't that have caused a sense of urgency for you to have something to do with me, since you're not going to be here forever? Like, right. You could flip the script.
Right, that's not going to push me. You saying you're not going to be here soon and you're going to wish, you don't know what I'm going to wish, which again, this implying this Saturn that I'm dealing with in my 4th house, because Saturn is transiting my 4th house with family. Okay. This implying that these things matter to me shows that you don't know what matters to me. It's even more insulting to me to even try to repair these things. Like, you don't really know where my head is with this. I have lived a large part of my life without you. I'm using this as therapy now. Now our talk has turned into my therapy.
No, it's fine.
It is fine. Saturn is the daddy.
It's all relative.
Yeah, so I'm just like, you've spent all this time not being a part of my life. And not really trying to understand how I think and who I am, and using these traditions, which is Saturn in the 4th house. You see, it's like these traditions, like, okay, if me and my man come over to visit your house, we can't sleep in the same room because he has this tradition where if you're not married, you can't sleep in the same room under my house and stuff. And I'm all like, that's cool. That's your house. But I don't really abide by those traditions. And I'm in a space in my life where I'm surrounded by family members and friends that don't make that kind of judgment. Why would I exchange the comfort of being accepted to trying to fit in where somewhere I'm uncomfortable at? It doesn't make sense to me in my mind to do that. And I feel like that's what repairing a relationship with my father will be. It will be me denouncing or completely not being myself to adhere to his comfort. See this Uranus square Saturn? The value system of, do I abandon what makes me comfortable for my father's strict ideology about how life should be, you know, without any regard for how I'm living my life and how it makes me happy? You know, so I'm battling that, and I'm still up in the air as to how I want to handle that, because I always feel like I do everything to make him comfortable, make him happy. You know, these are the things my dad would like. Right. But they're not genuine. It's not me. And I feel like it's like you're not coming on my side of, well, these are the things that make my daughter happy. Since I haven't been a part of her life, I should probably be making more of an effort to see what makes her happy so that I can have her a part of my life instead of
guilt tripping you.
Right. Yes. Exactly.
Where does Saturn show up in your chart that this plays out? I guess that's something we could talk about.
In my face. In Scorpio.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
First house. Yeah. First house, Saturn in Scorpio. So dealing with the transformation, the resentment of my father. You know, there is a lot of resentment there. And I don't think that he understands that because he's not in my shoes. He isn't the daughter that was abandoned by the father. You know what I mean? So he doesn't have the same resentments I do. And he has his other kids, you know, my other brothers and sisters who had him in their life. And then my stepmother and her children who he basically raised while I was someplace else.
I know how that feel too.
He's surrounded by people who understand him. You know what I mean? So that just validates him projecting himself onto me. Yes. Well, my other kids feel differently. You should feel differently too. Again, nigga.
I'm not them, bitch. Yes. Uranus, hello.
Right. You raised them differently, or they were raised differently. Like you went to Baptist church every Sunday. My mom got me a Ouija board on the day the Lord was born, okay? For Christmas. You have Christian morals. My mom got me tarot cards. You know what I'm saying? Like I have a
We ain't the same.
It's not the same.
We are not the
hilarious.
No, I get it, but I like how you're able to describe like the experience that you're having with your father and then base it upon Saturn. Like, Erica, I'm gonna quiz you next too. We all quiz ourselves on our Saturns and our fathers. Mine is opposing my sun.
Yeah, what is the father aspect with you since Saturn's been in Aquarius? Because it is this either build a relationship, son, or totally cut it off.
Yes.
I'm ready to cut it off because, like, my whole philosophy nowadays is I ain't finna make nobody do shit they don't want to do. Here's what I need from you. If you can't do it, you can get the fuck out of my face, or you can at least try. You know, I'm not asking for perfection at this point, but I need to see some effort from you.
Wow. Hold on.
And I am very candid with the way that I talk to people nowadays, and it really rubs people the wrong way, including my father. And it's crazy because he's a Cap sun, which means the sun is in my 12th. And he's been present, but not really. Like, he's always working, always had like, just other priorities. So for me, it's not really that much different not having him there. But again, like I'm just defining for myself with Saturn in my second, what do I value? If I value quality time and, you know, like, or just you being here and you can't do that for me, I can't allow you to be here. Like pick a side. because this dipping in and out shit, I can't mentally handle that. So
right, okay, and I can see that with the Aquarius. It's Aquarius anyway is sudden abandonment, and father Saturn in Aquarius. Are we dealing with issues of sudden abandonment when it comes to fathers and their families, if you will, or their relationships or connections with others? So that's interesting. So you deal with the aspect of he's here, then gone, then here, then gone. Then is it kind of like that?
Pretty much, yeah. Like he's never been too far away, and I never knew that because I grew up like the first 10 years of my life with him not being there at all. Then he was there, but you know, like I ended up moving in with him when I was like in middle school, 6th grade or some shit like that. But again, he just wasn't really there because he was always working or he was always in some bitch face. And then he got one of those women pregnant, and then he decided to commit his life to building a family surrounded around that. So, I mean, hell, my dad is an Aquarius moon himself. So, I mean...
yeah, that says abandonment of family. All within itself is moon in Aquarius. Or emotionally detached, definitely.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, extremely emotionally detached. It's scary. And again, I kind of learned from him to learn how to protect myself emotionally, you know, because people like that, like, they're that way for a reason, and there's no amount of tears or crying or begging that can make them really change their mind. They are who they are with that fixed energy. Yeah.
I love how we're examining Saturn with the father. Now I want y'all insight. Like I'm all sitting here like I'm not part of this conversation. I'm in the audience and I'm like, do me next. Saturn.
Right.
Well,
where's your Saturn in Virgo?
It's Saturn in Virgo, opposing my sun, squaring my Neptune.
You do deal with the judgmental father, or
he's dead now. Well, I had a stepfather from 5 on.
Yeah,
but
same.
When I was growing up, my dad, I don't know what happened. My dad used to play professional basketball. And when he met my mother, he was 34 and she was 17. We ain't gonna talk about that. But you know, he came into her life and her situation offering a lot of support and was a provider. And then by the time I was born, all of that changed. And my mother was the only one working. I used to stay home with my dad. I used to actually like my dad a lot more than my mom. And then when they got divorced when I was 5, then it was, we're just going to see him on weekends and stuff like that. And then he disappeared at 8. And then it was just kind of like, I didn't know how to deal with that. And I used to tell myself, oh, you have a stepfather now. Everybody only gets one dad. That's why I would make excuses because my mother wouldn't talk about what was going on. But he was very judgmental about a lot of different things, especially when he came back in my life. I remember, this might even be inappropriate to say, but I'm be honest. I remember because 8-year-old Janét looks different, obviously, than 16-year-old Janét. And I remember he said something to me. I was about to go out, and this is when I was pursuing rap. So I was going to open mics, doing all this stuff. I wasn't dressed inappropriately, but this man going to say to me, more than a handful of breasts is too much. Why do you have, like, why are you all like, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? First of all, why are you talking to me about my boobs?
That's like, inappropriate to say.
Very inappropriate.
Right, like just staring?
Like,
he was like reading me with his eyes, and I'm like, what? Like, and
like up and down, like really? Like, oh wow.
He's a Scorpio.
Like
sun,
I can't help how I'm built.
The fuck? On my sun, his moon conjunct my sun.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he was, and that's fucked up. He was judging you in not as this is my daughter, but as a sexual object. Someone that was presenting sexuality as an object in the form of what is supposed to be my daughter, but I can't even look at her like my daughter because she looks like this. That's fucked up.
He was like, it was really like, how dare you? Like, that you don't do that. And I'm like, I wasn't hanging out or anything. I was a lot less busty than I am now. So it just didn't make any sense to me. But like, there was constant judgment. There was judgment about how my household was run that he wasn't even in. How are you criticizing my stepfather? Your stepfather's a yes man. How the fuck would you know that? You weren't there. And why would you even say something like that? It was constant. Yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah, we're gonna have now. You have a father segment show to put on there about us analyzing the Saturn and the father.
Yo, daddy issues. But yeah,
Right.
did this manifest any way for you in your Saturn return, Marie? Like any issues with your dad? Did anything get
Yes.
punctuated?
The idea was that I was talking to my father during my Saturn return a lot more than say I am now, and I was trying so hard to present that I had found this acceptable Christian Baptist family with this good man.
I'm gonna ask you too, Erica. I'm this fascinated.
Yeah.
We got a whole other segment. I'm
I
like,
was,
Yeah, I want to hear about y'all careers too. Like, how was y'all careers affected
Okay.
during the Saturn return?
girl.
yeah. So with my father, I was trying to, I was hiding abuse is what I was doing with my father because I felt shame.
Wow.
From trying to have a relationship with my dad, and I didn't want to let him know that I was in an abusive relationship at the time. So I tried to make everything around me sound good, which is kind of fucked up when I think about it. That's what my father represented to me, is that I had to hide my traumas or stop my traumas because, Saturn in Scorpio as a Saturn return, in order to maintain a reputation, which is also Saturn, is upholding a reputation. And I couldn't let him know. And then when I did finally escape from my abusive relationship and I did let him know, my brother was all up in arms about it. He was like, we need to go out to Georgia because she can't be left out there alone and this is happening to her. And my father was like weighing whether or not that was worth it, to the point where, I don't think we should do that. And he wouldn't come to my aid. And even as, when you're leaving an abusive relationship, because Saturn was slowly moving into my second house, I was, broke, no car. That was also what Saturn did to me as far as my career, because that is career. Saturn ruling Capricorn as the 10th house. No career. What do you mean? All of it was gone. Everything that I tried to build and everything that I tried to do, literally just in an instant, and I was left with absolutely nothing. And I think it's because I had, like I said, the same thing that I did with my dad, I did with my career, and I did with everything I was building, which was trying to maintain a reputation that didn't actually exist, that was actually kind of covering up all the fuck shit that I was trying to hide and not pay attention to. So the abusive relationship, the lack of money, the bouncing from place to place, the losing the apartments, the failed relationships as far as friendships and stuff, the being fake to fit in order to reduce trauma. So it wasn't so much that I wanted to fit in because I wanted to be around these certain people. It was I wanted to fit in because the alternative was to deal with the fuck shit of not being able to fit in. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this was my only circle. So if I alienate myself from this, then I have nothing left. So let me try my best to dumb myself down, which is also a Saturn aspect, is bringing yourself lower than where you could possibly be, being slower than where you could possibly be. So my Saturn return in Scorpio, this whole transformative thing was really breaking down this, you're not where you're supposed to be, you're not in the right place, and you're not handling your responsibilities the way that you're supposed to. So thus and therefore, you're going to lose all of it because this foundation is built on quicksand. So yeah, that's kind of like to sum up what it was like. And it was in my face, so I couldn't escape it. It was every interaction, first house, Saturn return. It was everything that I did, everything I projected myself in, from what I was wearing, simple things like what I was wearing. I had to deal with humiliation, which is something that the Capricorn energy is not apt to deal with. But yeah, that was my Saturn return. I wonder, what the Saturn return, if it relates in the same way. Of course, mine was in Scorpio, so it's different. Yours was in, where was yours, Janae? Again, your Saturn return? Virgo. And then yours is in Aquarius. So I wonder if the themes are the same. It is the difficulties and stuff that I've described. But of course, with me being in Scorpio, I also dealt with a lot of death. So that was the other avenue. People were dying left and right. And I'm not saying that without empathy, but just, stating out the facts that during my Saturn return, there was like funeral after funeral after funeral after funeral.
Wow.
To the point where it was quite a lot. And I started to become detached, so I dealt with that detachment as to now it's like watching a movie, which also negatively affected me because all it was letting me know is, once again, that I didn't have the tools my Saturn return let me know that I was not prepared, nor did I work on having any of the tools to deal with what I was going through. I didn't have the tools to turn around the failing career. I didn't have the tools to turn around a failing relationship. I didn't have the tools to turn around to being in my own person and not feeling like I had to be something I wasn't in order to survive. And I didn't have the tools to deal with my family, my relationships, or how I was projecting myself. I was completely toolless. It's what my Saturn return was letting me know. And since then, now that I'm in a Saturn square, I have spent the last 7 years, going on 10 years, trying to get those tools so that I can, now that it's too late, I wish I had them back then. But it won't be too late because this isn't my only Saturn return and I still have to go through life. So it's only been helpful, but still, it really put in my face how I was unprepared. And I thought I was. And I was skating through it really stupidly. I was ignorant.
Relatable content.
I was depressed my whole Saturn return. So depressed that I didn't realize that I was depressed. And a major theme that came up was abandonment issues from my dad, because in my relationship at that point, I started to uncover my mate's drug problem, which would cause him to disappear and steal and lie. And I don't know how I wasn't aware of that drug problem. This man has had that drug problem since before he met me. But I didn't see it. And with work, I just felt like I couldn't get anywhere. I was working at one job that I absolutely hated, where I felt oppressed. I mean, everybody that worked there felt oppressed. We actually trauma bonded over that. I'm still friends with some of those people. And then I thought switching jobs was going to fix it, but I did not have the support at home because of that disappearing father figure in the home that I'm now building. That wasn't holding up his point. And I got to a point where I was about to turn 29 the next year, and I got obsessed with this thought. I do not want the next decade of my life to be like the last decade. It was like a replaying thought in my head. I do not want, and that's when I had to be like, look, I don't want to be with you no more. And then that just started a whole bunch of stuff. He would not let me go. Would not let me go at all. And I was more traumatized trying to get away from him. And then I realized that's why I stayed so long, because I knew he was going to act like that. For context, his Mars is conjunct my sun.
Had that.
You did?
Yes, that was my ex. It's like it's motivating and it's deadly at the same time.
Yeah. And the fact that I feel like I emasculated this man in a lot of ways just by me wanting to be myself and trying to shine and just doing things that were normal for me. And he didn't take them in that way. Everything was a challenge to his masculinity. It's like I lit it up in the worst ways possible. It was terrible. And then Saturn's the ruler of my moon too, so
relatable. Absolutely. That summed it up perfectly. The challenge to my ex's masculinity with that Mars conjunct the sun.
I'm just doing me.
Yeah.
Nope.
You took everything as a challenge.
Yep. Terrible. And Erica's in her Saturn return now. So that's why I'm like, what has manifested with these areas of life for you, sweetheart?
That face, it just sums it up. That's what it does.
It's in my second house in every housing system that you could think of. So, and it's my chart ruler. So it's kind of not different, except I feel more pressure now because now that I'm almost 30, it's like, bitch, you should have, there's this thing, you should already have your life together and you should know what you want to do. And I keep going through these ups and downs with my finances because I keep having issues with authority figures and me just kind of trying to navigate through corporate America, and I just don't give a fuck I don't care to do all that. I don't want to climb the corporate ladder. I don't want to do business meets. I don't want to be your friend. I just want to come here, get my money and go home, but it's never been that. And I also deal with a lot of bullies in the workplace. I have my Saturn square Pluto. So it's a constant. I get a job. I'm catching up from the last time I didn't have a job. It's a well-paying job, but now I have this bully over here who's trying to nitpick and do all this other shit and be domineering for whatever I don't know why. I've never been incompetent with my work or anything that I turn in. I'm fucking Cap rising, for God's fucking sakes. So it just never made sense to me why I have these domineering bosses. But yeah, that always comes to a point where I'll end up losing my job or end up quitting because I can't take it no more. And it's like back to square one. And then now I'm just faced with, okay, you got to make money, bitch. So what we gonna do? And I just don't want to do it no more. I really don't. Like, it's just trying to figure it out, basically, because you can't do nothing. I have been making some money through internet endeavors, but it's splashy. So the other side of that is, Janae, I told you a little bit about this, knowing where my boundaries lie with friends, or I guess my associations, because there are a lot of people who think we're friends for some reason. I'm like, so they expect like this undying loyalty, even if they wrong. So when it comes to me saying things or bringing things to, the forefront, like, hey, that was fucked up of you. Like, I'm just supposed to be this person that don't say nothing, is just blindly loyal to people, and I just can't do that. I need all the facts before I choose sides. And I'm going to look at things objectively. Like, I can't do what people be asking me to do friendship wise. Like, I'll be there for you. I'm going to tell you when you fuck up. I'm going to tell you when you're doing right. But like, outside of that, like, I don't like, I'm trying to define what I even think a friend is at this point, because as a Pisces sun who was all accepting and just accepted whatever was put on my plate, now I'm being asked to like really buckle down and define what it is what I want to associate myself with, because there are a lot of things out here that could be detrimental to me and my reputation, just because I accepted this person into my space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that has been detrimental to me, because I've always looked at it like, oh, well, you don't know their whole story, or maybe they're just misunderstood, blah, blah, blah. No, bitch. Look at the whole picture.
I hear that, because that was like what I was saying with my Saturn return, is this maintaining of a certain reputation for what I was dealing with. So one of the tools that I ended up finding, and maybe this might be helpful, is, and it goes to Janae's favorite word and topic ever, accountability.
There we go.
It's definitely,
there it is.
It also means accountability for oneself, and just being prepared to do that. Yeah. And so I was afraid, getting afraid of putting myself out there because of that fear. I don't want to put myself out there and then I get fucked up because I chose wrong, or I didn't have it together and all that other stuff. So I'd rather just cut it off and not deal with it. And the problem with that, with what happened to me doing that, was that's part of the fitting in. It's, I don't want the confrontation, and I don't want to have to deal with having to come back and deal with it. The issue is that you hide so much of yourself, because there's no avoiding confrontation, and you're not going to be right 100% of the time. So one of the tools that I had to learn from dealing with that is I have to throw myself out there with the knowledge that if I'm wrong, I will be accountable for it.
Yes.
If I choose wrong, I will be accountable for it. I will be prepared to be like, look, this is how I feel in the moment. And someone come back and be like, you was dead ass wrong. And I'd be like, I was dead ass wrong, but this is how I felt at the moment. Now that I know, okay, I have all the facts now. I was wrong about that situation. Now that new things have come into play. It was sort of the defining moment was dealing with that Tara Tahuti issue, and him being caught up with actual abuse, because how you to be with a minor. And, everyone was scared. Really, behind the scenes, they were afraid to come out and denounce association with him because they didn't want to be wrong. But in my feeling, I was like, I'm going to believe the child. And if I'm wrong, nigga, my bad, but I'm going to stand up for this child first, and I'll be wrong about that. But that had to be a defining moment in my morals. I had to tell myself, what will I always die on a hill for and come back and be wrong about and accept? I will always die on a hill for children.
Yes.
That,
and you know what?
One thing, I will always die on a hill for kids. So if a child comes up and says, this person is doing this to me, I'm going to believe the child. That is my moral, and I'm sticking to it. And if I come back and I find out that the kid was lying, or, you know, there was evidence that showed that it wasn't true, and yada, 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 I'm going to look at the adult and be like, well, I'm glad that you proved yourself wrong, innocent in that situation. But my moral standpoint is I got to go with the kid first. And congratulations for you being the grown ass person who shouldn't even have been in that sentence in the first place.
Exactly.
Coming back and showing that you were innocent of these charges. But I will accept that. That is something I will die on a hill, so they can be like, you were dead ass wrong, bitch. And I'd be like, and I'm gonna always do it. Don't come to me about no kids, because I'm gonna choose them first.
Yeah.
So
Girl,
that was one of the tools.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Especially because it's like, what am I gonna do now, bitch? You know what you need to be doing. But like you said, what did you say? I don't want to like butcher what you said, but basically like you don't want to put yourself out there. That's essentially it. Because I know that I can make money through, like, say, a podcast or a YouTube channel or something where I'm literally putting myself out there in front of the world, or on the internet, and I don't want to do it. I know that I can do it, but there are some blockages there. One of the main ones, feeling like I don't know enough about it to speak on it, or I don't want to get canceled. Oh my fucking God. Because like, I have a lot of strong opinions about things, and I put things out. I tend to put things out there very matter of fact, like. So I know it's going to offend a lot of people. It's going to piss a lot of people off. Especially nowadays, sometimes I feel like I have like too late of a start on things to really get my footing on things, and then I'm black, so there's that. There's a lot of challenges in that, so I keep talking myself out of it.
Yeah.
My phone might die, so I might have to switch back over to my computer. But that's the current challenge. And then telling myself, I don't have enough time for that because I have to go to work and recoup all this money that I haven't been making, so it's just like a constant cycle of that.
Yeah, no, I definitely relate to that. I relate to it now, even when it appears that I'm pushing myself forward. And trying not to give myself that excuse. I am literally in the back of my head while I'm working on it going, this is a waste of time. It's not going to turn into what you want it to be. Look how much work you have to do. Damn it, why don't I have 1 million followers?
It's oversaturated.
Do
all
sex
of
magic, masturbate with 1 million followers.
I've even tried that too. That's hilarious.
I will say this though, Marie. It's okay to feel that way. Because while my following is growing on Facebook, it's growing in for the wrong things. Like, I'm so upset. Like, there's like...
What you mean?
There's 10 people, like, this is me exaggerating. It's probably like maybe 600 out of 253,000 that pay attention to the actual astrology that we're talking about. If I post a dumbass meme with a long-ass caption, nobody read the caption. 253,000 people are going to look at the meme. And I'm like, so I got to dumb myself. Like, it's
yes,
it's
you
frustrating
do.
as fuck.
You do.
Yes.
2 minutes or less. Yep. And you got to catch their attention in the first 5.
And TikTok is worse. The first
That's right. That's why.
First 3 to 5 seconds, you better capture someone's attention, or there's everything that you
scroll on that ass.
Man, scroll on that ass.
I am personally, like, I don't have anything against TikTok, but I did watch that video that Marie talked about one of the last times that we recorded about how TikTok is, like, ruining, like, China is like, look, we got y'all with y'all short-ass goldfish attention span. We over here, like, our TikTok is showing dutiful citizens that, add to something of importance, and y'all are watching dumb shit. I watched the video that she was talking about. I even showed it to my daughter, and who was immediately like, fuck. Like, I'm allowing them to do this to me. But I started realizing, I was like, damn, I am one of those people. Like, I'll look at TikToks if people send them to me, but for some reason, I can't just stay on there. Like, I like after a while, I'm just like it drives me crazy. I don't know what it is. I like longer form things. So trying to even make content for TikTok feels like weird to me because I'm like, I talk too much. I talk too fucking much. There's no way I'm going to capture your attention in 90 seconds. There's no, or in 5 seconds that y'all are talking about. I'm like, ah! Oh, no, Erica's on her computer. Wait a minute. Here
okay.
I'm like, how? Like, and I'm like, the world wants that. And I'm like, I can't give it to them. So what am I doing this for? Like, it's a whole bunch of stuff. What am I doing this for? That's not what they want. They want China to take over their brains and to watch 2-second videos.
That's why I realized that I'm trying to do this short form shit, and Instagram, fuck you fuckers, want to compete with TikTok. You're on this short form shit.
Bless you.
Where they took away the 15-minute videos.
Yeah, no long form and not even pictures. If it's not reels, you can't. And I YouTube and Twitch. I ran to YouTube and Twitch because there's still an appreciation for long form. I can be on Twitch and stream for 8 hours. There's somebody there who wants to see it.
Right.
You can have an hour long on YouTube, even though now they have shorts. It's still there for long form content where people still want to watch long form, something that continues to go on. But this short attention span shit, that's this dying. Saturn and Aquarius. Because Aquarius, right? And Saturn is like, no, long.
Give it to me now.
Saturn's like, no.
I want it long and hard.
I want it long and hard. Like, you can't even have long sex anymore. It's the rose.
Girl! Oh my God. Oh my God.
Marie, you speaking to the whole room. Oh my God.
Okay, we can't even have 2-hour long, 1 hour sexual encounters. It's
girl,
like sex.
If you talk about anything past 30 minutes, niggas is trying to say your pussy is trash. What if I just like having sex? Can I make it last a little bit longer? Like, why?
Everything is too motherfucking fast. And Saturn and Aquarius is trying to tell people to slow that fast shit down. And that's one thing people aren't paying attention to. We're moving too quickly. It's too much, too fast. Oh my God. It's way too overload.
Saturn in my second has made my libido go. And it's not like I don't have like the urge anymore, but I'm just like, what's the point?
It's in my fifth.
It's about to be in my fifth, y'all.
Girl, hold on. What you basically said literally was the whole video that you recommended that I watch about TikTok. There's government and rules, which we could ascribe to Capricorn if we wanted to. Mm-hmm. And then they're trying to shorten our attention spans. They're right on time.
Very literally. Like, it don't matter what we want. They'll be like, y'all niggas gonna die from whatever disease you done created anyway. This is for the babies. The new generation that we're trying to train to not be able to think past 10 seconds or any type of deductive reason. This is for them.
And it's a shame because people fucking know better. You know, I was watching this video on YouTube. There's this Twitch streamer named Osmond Gold, right? And he was talking about, at the time, he was talking about how there's gambling on Twitch. They've recently removed it, right?
Really?
Yeah, they removed that. You can't do, if it's not licensed gambling streams and stuff like that, you can't do it. Because it was ruining people's lives. And somebody said, well, they need to talk about how regulating this and this is bad and all this other stuff. And Osman made like this point and he's all like, why? He's like, why? Back in the day, they said gambling was bad hundreds of years ago. And people are still doing it, even though they know it's bad. So I see all the time on social media in the comments, people are all like, this is terrible. This is bad. And I'm like, you know, us commenting under how this is terrible is just giving them more of, it's letting them know that this is what you want to watch. Because the shit that you say is good, you don't like, you don't comment, you don't share. It's only the controversial quick shit you want to leave your attention to. So you're letting the world know that that's what you'll stop everything you're doing to pay attention and give your energy to. And we keep saying it over and over again. Listen to someone who has good content. Listen to something that's not detrimental.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Astro G Ladies Roundtable, where we discuss astrology and spirituality in a practical way. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when we post a new video. Peace.